core competence and distinctive competency. What are the various features of core competency and distinctive competency that we had discussed in the last session? Today we will be starting with a new topic which is called as benchmarking. What is benchmarking that we are going to discuss in today's session? Then we will be discussing about the types of benchmark. What are the various types of benchmarking that we are going to discuss in today's session? So benchmarking, what is benchmarking? So a standard against which something is compared, used to measure the performance of securities, mutual funds, exchange traded funds, portfolios, and other investment opportunities. That is benchmark. So not only in this particular slide, it is written that benchmarking is used mainly for, say, capital market. So it is not a concept which is restricted to capital market only. It goes to other fields also. So everywhere benchmarking is there. So it's a process where a business uses to compare a team's operations or process against other teams to check whether we are moving in the right direction or not. Benchmarking is a concept which is used in every field. When university also conducts a examination, they check the previous results, that what were the previous results of various colleges which are affiliated to the university. On the basis of that, they put a benchmark that more than 75% last year students who appeared for the examination, they passed the examination. So their benchmark is 75, more than 75%. Next year, the target will be that more than 75%. If 75% is the result last year, university will see to it that it gets increased to 76%, 77%, 78%. So they have set a benchmark. Benchmark is 75%. And against that benchmark, they will be measuring whether the university is moving in the right direction or not, whether the syllabus, whether the lectures are properly conducted in various colleges or not. How the university is going to come to know? They will come to know only with the help of results of the students. And how they are going to measure that result? They are going to measure the result of present year with the previous year. So everywhere that benchmarking is done. For organizations also, that if a manufacturing organization is there, then the benchmarking, that how much output is expected in a day from every employee who is working in a manufacturing unit, particularly on the operations, in the field of operations. So every day they will calculate and they will prepare a benchmark that yes, this is the benchmark. 100 units are produced every day. So benchmark will be that every employee who is working on the operation, that person has to see to it that his production is more than 100. Why? Because the benchmark set by the organization is 100. So benchmark helps the organization to see to it whether we have achieved the results which we had planned. In the strategies also we had seen that when a strategy is initiated, before it is being implemented, when the strategy is in the initiation phase, at that time, what will be the results of the strategy that are also noted down. So these results play a role of benchmark, that we have to achieve this result. Then only we can say that the strategy is successful. So that is what benchmarking is. So everywhere, every organization does have this benchmarking everywhere, whether it is in finance department, whether it is in HR department, whether it is in say marketing department, everywhere benchmarking is there. For HR department, benchmarking could be that last year when the training and development was conducted by the organization, 80% employees showed that there was a increase in their performance. So next year, when the training and development will be conducted by the same organization, by the HR department, the benchmarking or benchmark for that particular training and development will be 80, more than 80% employees have to show that they have learned some new skills, or they have polished their skills, and it is to be seen through their performance. That last year 80% was there, now 85% employees are showing that their results are better after training, and that is what benchmarking is. So every department, in every organization, in every field, this benchmarking is done. Now there are we will move on to the types of benchmarking. What are the various types of benchmarking? We will start with the internal benchmarking, and then we will move on to the external benchmark. So there are various types of benchmarking. How benchmarking is done? Many organizations, they uses these type of benchmarking. One organization may use one type of benchmarking. Another organization may use more than one type of benchmark. So what these various types of benchmarking are, that we are going to discuss now. So in internal benchmarking, the first type is SWOT analysis. The other type is best practice benchmarking. Another type is performance metric, then financial benchmarking, and functional benchmark. So these are the type of internal benchmarking. Then we will also be talking about collaborative benchmarking, process benchmarking, product benchmarking, corporate benchmarking, strategic benchmarking, and global benchmark. And these benchmarking are uh, part of external benchmark. So first we are going to discuss about the internal benchmarking, and then we will move on to the external types of benchmark. So SWOT analysis, strength, weakness, opportunity, threat, that we have in detail discussed. So this type of benchmarking is called as SWOT analysis benchmark, where the organization is trying to evaluate its strength, its weakness, its opportunities, and where are the threats which are there, which are being posed by the competitors to the organization. Everything is measured, everything is written on a piece of paper, calculations are done, analysis is done, and that particular benchmarking is called as SWOT analysis benchmarking. Very simple. Next one is best practice benchmarking. Now, what is best practice benchmark? Now, in best practice benchmarking, what happens is one organization tries to study the best practices which are being implemented by the competitor organization or by some other organization. They try to learn that, okay, my organization is A organization. Now, next to my organization is, say, B organization. Now, in this best practice benchmarking, what happens is, now, if I'm working in A organization as a manager and my B organization is making profit, is it's growing very fast. So in best practice benchmarking, what I'll be doing is I'll be studying what are the best practices which are being implemented in B organization. Then similarly, in other organizations also, which are there in that particular sector only. If my organization belongs to, say, automobile sector, if B organization also belongs to automobile sector, what are the best practices B organization is being implemented? Then I will also try to study other two, three, four, five as much as I can, similar type of organization which are in the same sector or maybe in some other sectors which my organization feels that these are the organizations which are showing uh, great progress. So managers are going to study the best practices of those organizations. Then they will try to see to it that whether these practices can be implemented in our organization also. When these companies implemented these practices, their results were this. If we implement these best practices in our organization, can we have the same result in our company also? Now, these best practices are studied, their results are studied, and the company tries to implement those best practices in that organization also. And that is called as best practice benchmark. So in benchmarking, what will happen against the benchmarking? The company will be writing the best practice which is being implemented by B, C, D, E. What are the results of B, C, D, E? All these things will be written, and that will be the basis of benchmarking. That will be the benchmarking for my organization. When my company will be implementing those best practices which are being already implemented in other organization and which have shown a better result or positive result. After 15 days, after 1 month, after 3 months, after 6 months, when the evaluation of these best practices will be done in my organization, it will be done against the benchmarking, against the benchmark which we have set. That B organization, this practice was implemented, showed this result. C organization, practice was implemented, showed this result. What result is seen in my organization when my organization implemented this type of organization, this type of practices? So that type of benchmarking is called as best practice benchmark, where one organization is trying to study the best practices implemented by the other organization and they try to implement that practices and they want same result in their organization also, and that is best practice benchmarking. Next one is performance metrics. Now certain performance metrics are drawn by the organization and the results are evaluated against those performance. Now, we had discussed in the previous session about key result areas and key performance indicators, KRA and KPI in detail. That what is KPI, what are the various examples of KPI, what are key result areas, KRAs, what are the examples of KRAs that we had discussed. Same thing happens in performance matrix. Now in performance metric, the KPI, the key performance indicator are written. And the performance of the organization, performance of the team, performance of the individual employee is analyzed, is calculated against those KPIs. That these were the KPIs, these were the benchmarkings done under the performance matrix. That if the employees are performing at this particular level, these will be the benefits, these will be the results. If they are showing these indicators, then this will be the result, and that is called as performance metric. Next is financial benchmarking. Now financial benchmarking, again here departmental study is carried out, that last year we used this much of finance, and against this much of capital, this much of finance, the profitability was this much. In other organizations, what happens, or how much profit that earns against that particular finance, that is studied. Again, benchmarking is drawn, and that is called as financial benchmark. Now, why financial benchmarking is done? Why these calculations are done? So that there is optimum use of finances of the organization. Calculations are done, analysis is done, that last year this much of capital resulted in this much of profit. So already there is benchmarking available. So we have to see to it that within this particular amount, within this particular capital, we have to increase our profit. Last year the profit was say 10 crore. We need to see to it that it is increased from 10 crore. It should not happen that within that particular capital, if the profit earned by the organization comes to say 8 crore or 9 crore, that means the benchmarking, there are certain problems. The organization has to see to it that they have to say now come up with a new strategy. Reasons could be many. It is not that every time benchmarking is achieved. Benchmarking is done just to see to it that we can analyze with a particular with particular parameters. So those are, we can say, the guiding parameters. And every organization keeps in mind that we have to achieve that benchmark, outperform that benchmark. But every time this doesn't happen. Reasons could be many. And for that, they have to check, they have to again go back to preparing new strategy related how they can overcome that problem. Now, for example, if automobile, if we take the example of automobile, we are aware that for the last few months, or we can say for the from the start of 2025, the automobile sector is not showing a growth which it showed previous year and previous to previous. So this year is considered as not so good for the automobile industry. And that too, if we are talking about the four wheelers, particularly if we are talking about four-wheelers, car manufacturing company. In that also, if we talk about the starting segment, the starting segment means cars which are up to say 5 lakh or 6 lakh rupees. Now, the sale of these cars have shown a decline, and sale of the mid level car or the luxury cars have shown a rise. Now, the companies which are mainly focused on this the initial level, the cars they are catering up to say 6 lakh market, they have shown decline. So everything was going well, quality wise, manufacturing wise, employees training wise, capital wise, everything is going as per planning. But people are now more interested in buying mid segment car or higher end car. Now, here the company has to come up with some initiative, some strategies. We have seen that how the companies are coming up with these strategies. Companies have not said, okay, they have not accepted the fact, no problem, we will close down the entire business of the first segment, that cars which are being manufactured up to say 6 lakh rupees or 5 lakh rupees, and we will start manufacturing only luxury car or mid level car. None of the companies have resorted to these particular strategies. Instead, they have come up with other strategies, that okay, they have started giving more say advantages or more freebies to the customer, that if you purchase the car, you will have say one more servicing, free servicing will be, we will be giving additional accessories within that price we will be giving, which the company was not giving earlier. So these type of strategies they start coming up with. So sometimes what happens is that everything is moving as per your say calculation, but because of some reason the results are not as per the benchmark. There the company has to come up with newer strategies. Now, not only the companies, now government has also reduced the GST slabs we have seen, and from 22nd of September, these reduced GST slabs will be implemented. So 28% is abolished, then 12% is also. So 5% and 18% will be there. So the cars which were getting 20, which fall under say 28% percent of GST bracket, if if luxury car, of course, they will be there in the bracket, but the smaller car, if their GST is reduced, automatically the price of the car will be reduced. So one of the strategy, now the organizations have started say advertising the sale of these small cars is that now these cars will be coming cheaper. So you can save your say 10,000 rupees, 20,000 rupees, or more than 50,000 rupees. So these type of calculation they have started projecting to the prospective customer. So that is what financial benchmarking is. So financial benchmarking, they talk about that how much finance we are investing and what is the return we are getting. Next one is the functional benchmark. Now, what happens in a functional benchmarking is here in functional benchmarking, it allows the organization to compare functions within the organization with one another. Now, this helps the organization to understand the strategies which are used by the company while comparing the performance of various departments, that how the HR department is performing, how finance department is performing, how the marketing department is performing, operations is performing. They come to know that which department is performing in a better manner. So again, benchmarks is everywhere, and benchmarking is the easiest way to benchmark set a benchmark is your previous result. That previous results of this particular department were this. When you start comparing one department with another department, you also come to know that which department has outperformed the other department. And that is done under financial benchmarking. Now, here, the company is not only restricting itself to comparing the performance of one department with the another department. Of course, that is the first step. The next step the company starts with is that they start to study the functioning of the various departments of other companies also. In my company, these are the benchmarks for these departments. In other companies, what were the benchmarks and how they were performing? That is to be checked under the under the functional benchmarking. The functions are studied under the functional benchmark. So that is what functional benchmarking is there. The growth, the progress, the results of various departments within the organization is studied. The results are checked. It is checked that which department is performing well, which department is, say, uh, has become the outstanding department. And they also take the help of other companies also. Now we will move on to another, external benchmarking, and the external benchmarking are, we will start with the collaborative benchmark. What is collaborative benchmark? Now, collaborative, where all the departments are collaborating with one another department, where everyone is working in tune with the other. No department is showing any, changes in their direction. So once a strategy is prepared, that finance department, HR department, the other departments will be doing this, everyone is sticking to that only. Every department is going in the same direction, and the direction is where we can achieve the results, where we can achieve the goals for the organization. And that's where everyone is collaborating with other. So that is collaborative benchmark. So if this collaboration is there, what were the results last year? What will be the result next year? That is to be checked, and that is called as collaborative benchmark. Next is process benchmark. Process, what is the process of the present process of the organization? And with the help of this process how much profit the organization is able to make. Last year, last to last year, last to last. What is the process? It is written. What are the results? It is written. That starts, or that shows the benchmarking or benchmark for the present result. Then it is checked if we change the process, what could be the result? Whether we will be able to achieve better results against the benchmarking for set for the previous 3 years or last 3 years. We are into, say, beverage industry. Here, the company, present company, is trying to study the processes of other companies also. That what are their process, whether they are implementing the same process or their processes are different. What are the results of those processes if it is different? What are the results of the processes if they are same? Whether it is more than our company's result if it is same, whether it is more than our company if the process is different. If the different process is showing more better result for that particular company, we need to, can we implement that process in our company also? What will be the result if we implement that process in our company? And when we are studying the processes of other company, it is not that for that particular company that change in process has shown say very good result, good profit. That same process can be implemented as it is in our organization also. Many a times it is not possible because the situation, the environment in that organization can be different, in our organization can be different. The situation there can be different, in our organization it can be different. Our organization is working in India, the competitor firm is maybe working in US. So their rules and regulations may be different, our rules and regulations may be different. Their compliances are different, our compliances may be different. So we cannot every time say that when we are comparing the process of our organization with another organization in the same category, in the same sector, then as it is, if we see that results are better as it is, we can implement in our organization also. So we need to see that can we implement that process in our organization? If yes, as it is, can we implement, or we need to make certain changes that suits our organization? So first, a study is to be carried out. Reality factors are to be checked, and then the process should be changed. All of a sudden, that the existing process of our organization for the last so many years, it is showing, say, 5% increase, 5 to 7% increase, or 5 to 10% of increase in profit. But we have seen recently the competitor implemented another process, and that process is showing earlier the competitor's profit was also in the similar range, 5 to 10% every year increase. But suddenly the competitor firm came up with a drastic change in their existing process, and that change showed more than 20% increase in their profit. When my company came to know about this, we also tried to implement that process. But many time what happens is, there it may show 20% increase, in our company it may remain a constant at 5 to 10%. Why? Because the factors we have not studied. What are the factors which are there in that organization? What are the factors which are there in my organization? So that is to be studied by the before we implement as it is. So when we are talking about process benchmarking, we can do the carry out the study within our company. We can check what are the previous records of our company if we are using this particular process. That could be our benchmarking. Then we can check this benchmarking with another companies also, that they are using some other process, what are their process. So we can increase our benchmark. We can keep the benchmarking of that company for evaluating the performance of our company. But we have to first see to it, can we implement that process in our organization as it is? First question we need to answer. If not, what are the changes we need to make? Who will be making those changes? How those changes will be made? How those changes will be communicated to the employees? Who will be implementing that particular process? All these things are to be studied before we change the process. And that is what happens under the process benchmark. Then we will move on to the product benchmark. Now, when we are talking about product benchmarking, it includes many things. For example, it includes launch of the product. It includes the say qualities of the product. It includes features or characteristics of the product. It includes what are the various advantages of the product. All these things are covered under product benchmark. Again, here also, when we are uh, say checking the product benchmarking of our product, we are going to compare it with the other companies which are manufacturing similar or same product in the market. Electric fans are there. So Orient is one company which is manufacturing electric fans. When they are checking how their product is performing in the market, they may use or they may check how the product of Usha company is doing, how the product of Khaitan is doing, how the product of Crompton is doing, how the product of Havels is doing. So how they are launching their product, how which features they are providing, why their product sale is more than my product. All is to be studied under product benchmark. Again, the various questions are to be asked. If they are giving those features, can we give those features in our fan? Is can we say that the process or the our products are compatible for those uh, where we can include those features in our electric fan? All these things are to be checked. How they are launching, what is their price strategy, how what features they are including in their fan, how they are advertising their product. All these things are to be studied under product benchmark. And then we can say that then we have to, after studying everything, then we can draw on a conclusion that yes, these are the changes which we need to make in our product. Then we can make it more competitive or more profitable. So that is a product benchmarking. Benchmarking, uh, um, we have to understand that it is a yardstick against which we are evaluating, against which we are measuring the result, right? Next one is the corporate benchmark. Corporate benchmarking, when we are talking about corporate benchmarking, we have to keep in mind that we are talking about the higher, highest level of the organization, the higher level of the organization, the level or the senior level management, which is responsible for, say, strategy formulation, strategy monitoring, strategy implementation, strategy evaluation at the higher level. Corporate, again, corporate benchmarking, what is discussed here or what is evaluated here is that competitors' corporate benchmark. How their corporate benchmarking, is it different from us? What are the results? Similar type of, again, calculations are done, evaluations are done, analyses are done, and if any changes are required at our corporate level, that are again implemented in the organization. Various examples are there at corporate level also, that how, for example, if say chemical industry is there, or paint industry is there, festive seasons are coming up, so we see that there is increase in the advertisement of various paint. Asian Paint is there, the other competitors are also there. Asian Paint is leading the Indian market. Now, when the other paint companies, they want to catch the performance of Asian Paint, or they want to outperform Asian Paint, so they need to first check, if corporate strategy benchmarking we are talking about, that what type of strategies they are preparing for increasing their market share, for increasing the sale of their paint. That is to be studied by the competitors. How their higher level management is working. Can we work in the similar manner? If that particular functioning for Asian Paint is showing this much of result, can we also achieve that particular result? Or can we say, after understanding, okay, this is how they are taking decisions, they meet, say, every month, the higher officials meet, they study the market share, they come up with a new strategy, they implement that strategy. This is how their corporate level is working. So instead of, say, 1 month, can we meet every fortnight? Can we discuss that, okay, we will have, say, short term strategy, where we will be having a short term goal. If we implement this strategy, we will be able to achieve this particular goal. So in this manner, after checking what the competitor or what the other companies which are growing fast, how their corporate, how their higher level management is working, can we implement that? Can we make certain changes and implement? Can we implement as it is? That happens under the corporate benchmarking. Next one is the strategic benchmark. Strategic benchmarking, again, here also, what we are doing is, here one company is analyzing the best practices and winning strategies of the most successful company. Now, my company could be a company which is into services, service sector, or maybe FMCG sector. Now, that particular company, if it wants to implement strategic benchmarking, what it has to do is they have to first check which are the companies which are operating in FMCG or service sector, which are doing very well, which are those top companies. What are the strategies which they have come up, which has resulted in so much of success for these companies? Those strategies are to be found, those strategies are to be studied, the result of those strategies are to be studied, and it is to be checked whether we can implement that strategy in our organization as it is, or whether we need to carry out certain changes in those strategies of those companies to achieve success. That is to be decided under strategic benchmark. Various strategies are there. We have seen that uh, why Apple is so successful, why Tesla is successful, why now BYD is the Chinese car maker is so successful within a period of say less than 15 years, or to be precise, it is around 10 years only, more or less. BYD is giving a very tough competition to Tesla. And the reason is what? They have studied these strategies which were taken or which were made by Tesla for for the launch of their electric car, for increasing the sale of their electric cars. So BYD has studied those strategies very minutely, and when they started implementing those strategies, they made certain changes related to the price of the car. They have not implemented the strategy as it is, which was started by Tesla. Because Tesla, one of the strategies of Tesla was that we will be providing quality, best quality car for a price, premium price. The price of the car will not be very less, will not be very low, because we have to invest a huge amount in research and development. That how we can make Tesla better, better, and more better. And that's the reason why the company decided that our prices will be premium. The lowest range of Tesla car when in India, it is around 60 lakh. BYD studied those strategies, but they made certain changes that we are not going to compromise on quality of the car. But of course, we will be compromising on our pricing strategy. So our cars will be costing less than the cars manufactured by Tesla. So strategic planning. They are they have studied the strategy of how the product is launched, what are the qualities of the product, what are the features of that particular car, how the company is branding that car, how it is advertising that particular car, how it is increasing the sale of the car. Everything is being studied by the Chinese car maker. But they didn't implemented it as it is, because they were of the opinion that if they implement it as it is, that if their car also, the lowest level, entry level, their car costs, if say 60 lakh rupees, then it may not be able to give the competition to the uh, uh, Tesla, because things are different in US or in European countries where Tesla is having a huge market, and things are different in Asian countries. The Western people, they do not give, say, more emphasis on price. They give more emphasis on quality, on features. When we talk about the Asian customers, we give first preference to price and then to quality. Of course, we need good quality, but at a cheaper price. So what BYD did is that quality strategy same, promotional strategy same. So many strategies they kept same, but pricing strategy they change. Advertising they change. Promoting they change. That our car gives you better mileage or the same mileage within half the price of test. So what is there, say, the most important USP, that same level of quality, if not better quality, what they are projecting is same level of quality, similar level of quality at half the price of Tesla. And that has become one of the what key strategy for the growth of BYD, and why it is being getting, say, so much of success, and it has started outperforming Tesla also. The number of car being sold, the number of car being manufactured, they have started outnumbering Tesla. Of course, market share Tesla is having, but very slowly they have started, or maybe BYD is projecting that within a period of, say, 3 to 5 years, that company will be the ruling the world. They will outperform the other major players, including Tesla. So that is what strategic benchmarking is. So you have to study the strategies, how it is prepared, why it is prepared, how it is implemented, how it is monitored, how it is measured, how it is evaluated. All these questions are to be answered while making these strategies. And when you are studying the other strategies, when you are seeing, yes, the results are very good, you cannot implement that strategy as it is in your organization, because chances are more that that strategy may not do wonders for your organization as it has done for that organization. Situation is different, environment is different, the entire things are different in that organization than your organization. So you need to check minutely, and you need to make the changes, and then you can uh, carry out the uh, strategies which suits to your organization. That is what a strategic benchmarking is. Next one is global benchmark. Again, strategic benchmarking, it is limited to preparing strategy, implementing strategy, monitoring strategy, and checking whether it is profitable or not. When we talk about global benchmarking, it includes everything. It includes how global successful companies, how they are working, every department. how they are, including how they are coming up with strategy, how their uh, finance department is working, how their advertisement department is working, how their operations is working, what about their supply chain management, what is their logistics management, how their after sales department is working. So global benchmarking is that when we are trying to study the global practices, that US companies, these practices have resulted in success. Japanese company, these practices have resulted in growth. European companies, these practices have yielded better results. That is what global benchmarking. That if Indian companies want to compete with Chinese companies, we need to check what are the global practices. Not only we need to check what are the Chinese companies' practices, but in the similar sector, what are the practices of Japanese companies? What are the practices of American companies? What are the practices of German companies? And then we need to make the changes accordingly, and we need to implement that particular practices in India. So this was related to the benchmarking. So in short, before we wind up, benchmarking is a yardstick against which the performance of various departments or company as a whole is measured. What are the various types of benchmarking that we had just discussed? In tomorrow's session, we will be talking about what are the benefits of comparative analysis in benchmarking. Right now, we had just discussed that how we need to study the benchmarking of other companies, particularly our competitors. Tomorrow, we will be talking about that what are the various benefits of the comparative analysis in benchmarking. Then we will be talking about the 10-step process in benchmarking analysis. So that we will be discussing in tomorrow's session. If you have not understood anything, please go ahead or we will stop. Okay, so we will stop here. Thank you everyone for being present in today's session. Tomorrow again, we will be starting with new topic. Thank you.